Hello and welcome to testingworld.com. On this special episode today, I'm going to be explaining why physical devices are the only way to test mobile apps and not using emulation, and how to implement that at scale. So, quickly going through, I've just unboxed, which I'm going to click on the link above if you want to see the full unboxing, the new 12 iPad Pro with the 5G LTE LiDAR support with the radar on the back. Which I've got for one of our customers we're starting to do some augmented reality development with, and they need that capability. In the same way with the 12, which is what I use on a daily basis, the 12 Pro has the LiDAR capability, which allows that to be supported. So as you could probably see, there's a whole stack of devices, and the reason that I've got all these devices is the last 12 months, or just over a year and a half now actually, I've been working with the guys at MIT to test the gains, the Google, Apple and exposure notifications, as well as their GPX original implementation. And now I'm helping them with the vaccine passport. So as they need these devices, they need physical devices for things like gains, so the Google, Apple exposure notifications. Each one of these has different strengths of signal strengths for their Bluetooth. So going from a 4 to a 6 to an 8 to a 10, you're going to see a difference. You're also going to see a difference in hardware. So whether it's Broadcom, Qualcomm, or some other Intel adapter, again, that's going to make a difference. And then you go into the Android landscape, that's the same kind of thing, all using different components and systems on chips. Again, I can have a different experience. You're also going to see the GPUs are going to work in a slightly different way. So as you can see here, this is now the M1 chipset with 8 cores of GPU available for GPU. And what you see running on the screen below is the Surface. This item here is the NVIDIA Shield, which again had an NVIDIA GPU in it. I've got the Surface Book here, which again has an NVIDIA custom built GPU in it. So part of it is you're starting to see those GPUs being used for browser rendering, which it makes a massive difference. So if you think of using machine learning like computer vision or something, that's going to make a difference between something that's using a GPU and just something that's a general system on a chip. So definitely going to have to keep out for that. Then of course the form factor is what we typically go after, right? So the form factor is going to change. The borders are going to obviously make a massive difference. So you can see on these devices you've got the borderless side of things, which is a big problem if you want to be able to make sure you can fit the full real estate in there. And then the same way when you look at a borderless version of an Android tablet in comparison to the non-bordered, which you get with the normal iPads, right, which you're going to get a lot more real estate with them. The good thing about the iPad Pro, minus the form factor, which is obviously 2K and a strange resolution, we're very much used to this same kind of format to how our apps should render on the screen. But I think it's really important that you're thinking about this stuff, especially if you're using things like I gave a video earlier, which again I'll link in, for using Windows 11, but also the new iOS 15. These are going to start taking a lot more of these capabilities to mind. My good friend Iran talks about things like flip phones, so the two screens. That's making an impact because obviously the estate it has to choose. So like the Surface Duo phone and stuff, they're going to again use them in a different way. So resolution is important. The underlying hardware, the Bluetooth capability is important. GPS. So for all the stuff we started off with the COVID Path Check Foundation doing contact tracing, we had to use the GPS. We had to inject GPX to emulate where these devices were in the world and how they were interacting with people. And then for gains, even harder, we had to move these phones into to connect to each other, so within a certain proximity for them to handshake the code to set off. So a lot of quite difficult challenges from a testing perspective that you need to watch out for. Okay, a great example is site reliability testing. A good way to understand how you're doing and what the experience your customers are doing, good or bad, is to benchmark. So I've ran all these devices and you can see straight away they're all getting very different experiences. Some aren't loading, some are still waiting to load. Now, if you were one of those customers who had to wait for that extra time, This is now making a difference with with your SEO ranking. So you really need to think about testing on proper hardware, and that's why I'm going to throw over the Mercury Challenge to my good friend Iran, and looking forward to next week to see what Perfecto can do in the 2-minute challenge.